What does it mean when someone says a stock is trading at, for example, 25 times? Yeah. So the best way to think about it is, whenever I explain finance and accounting, I want you to understand it and not just memorize stuff. So when somebody says a stock's trading at 25 times, it means it's trading at 25 times earnings. Here's how you think about that, okay? So for every $1 a company makes, investors are willing to pay $25. And every sector is different. And so every company is different depending on how fast they're growing. If a company is growing really fast, it's going to trade at a really high number of earnings. Okay, so every $1 that company makes, investors might pay 50 or $100. Okay, that's the price to earnings. If a company is not really growing, why would you want to invest a lot in it at 25 times? No. Well, maybe if it's 8 times earnings. Oh, so every $1 this company has, it's not growing, but it's trading at 8 times earnings. That sounds like a good bargain to me. And so price to earnings is just one metric you use. Now, let me add a little bit more complexity to that. Shouldn't use the word complexity, sorry. But the way to value a company on earnings is you look at the growth rate. And I'm going to teach you a really simple rule. So the average company in the S&P 500, which is a group of 500 stocks, which represents the U.S. economy. The average company in the S&P 500 usually trades at around 15 times earnings, meaning for every $1 that company makes, investors pay 15 times. And that average company has earnings growing every year at about 15%. Okay, earnings go up 15% per year. So if we take that price earnings multiple of 15 times for the S&P 500 and we divide it by 15%, then that price earnings to growth ratio or multiple is 1 time. Price earnings to growth, P-E-G, PEG. So the PEG multiple of a company that is at 15 times earnings that is growing at 15% is 1. That's the PEG of 1. Okay, so if a company has earnings growing at 20%, it should probably trade at higher than 15 times earnings. So if a company is growing at 20% earnings, then investors should probably pay 20 times for that $1. Okay, which means the price earnings ratio of 20 times, or the PEG, price earnings divided by growth, okay, of 1. If a company has earnings, this is generally right. Generally, just accept it. It works. And understand it too. If a company has earnings growing at, say, 10%, then people are going to pay less for it. They'll probably pay 10 times multiple. Okay. So what I just did there was I introduced the concept of price earnings, and then I added another level on top of that, price earnings to growth. Okay, the PEG ratio. And the rule of thumb, generally speaking, fundamentals aside and technicals aside, is people usually think that a stock is good value if it's trading at under a PEG of 1. For example, if a company has earnings growing at 20% and it's trading at 10 times earnings, then the PE divided by growth, 10, PE divided by growth of 20%, implies that company is trading at a PEG, or price earnings to growth ratio, of only 0.5 times. What a bargain. And vice versa, if a stock is trading at, 50 times earnings, meaning for every $1 a company makes, investors paid $50 for it, but earnings are only growing at, 5% per year, that means the PEG ratio is 10 times, right? 50 over 5%. And hedge funds might look to short that company. Okay, so I just explained price earnings and price earnings to growth. Let me layer on a little bit more now. So smart investors don't value companies based on earnings this year or next year. They're long-term focused. Warren Buffett said that the longer the view, the wiser the intention. And so smart investors will value companies based on earnings in 5 or 10 years. And that's why sometimes you see a stock like Amazon trade at, 100 times earnings. People say, oh, it's expensive. It's 100 times earnings. I'm going to short that stock, meaning I'm going to bet it's going to go down, which is a widowmaker for rookie hedge fund traders. what people don't realize is that those stocks trade at those high levels because people think that those companies are going to make a lot of money in 5 or 10 years. So the PE ratio for a stock that trades at 100 times earnings this year, in the minds of a lot of investors, only trades at 5 times earnings based on earnings in 5 or 10 years. Okay, and that's how I think when I invest as well. I'm very, very long-term focused. Now we're done with price earnings. Let's talk about a situation, because I know a lot of you are thinking about this, where there's no earnings. How do you value a company? Well, you can value it based on, instead of price over earnings, you can do price over revenue. Okay, so for every $1 in revenue a company makes, how many times are investors willing to pay for it? And you can value it on a price to revenue basis until a company is profitable. Then you can look at PE as well. And every sector is different. So if it's, say, a high growth software company, it might trade at a price to revenue multiple of well over 10 times. Okay, if it's a very, very low margin retail company, like stores don't make much money because of Amazon and Walmart, then people usually don't want to pay more than 1 or 2 times revenue. Okay, so I just explained price earnings there. So in your question, what does it mean when something's trading at 25 times? So John, what that means is for every $1 in earnings a company makes, investors are willing to pay 25 times that earnings, price over earnings, PE. We talked about PE. We talked about price to revenue. Let's talk about one more way of valuing companies. And I always like to value companies based on 3 methodologies, because I know that when I'm modeling companies or trying to figure out what they're going to be worth in the future, I know that one of my 3 methodologies is going to be way, 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 way off. I don't know which one. But if I take an average of the target price of all 3 companies, I will minimize the margin for error, so to speak. So the last way is my least favorite. My favorite is PE, then price to revenue. The last one is this. The last one is DCF. And that means discounted cash flow. What that means is this. If you figure out what you think your best guess is, a company's going to make every year for earnings, right? And pretend earnings and cash flow are the same thing. So how much money a company's going to make every single year. Then what you do is, let's say a company's going to make $10 this year, $12 next year, $13 next year. You add up all 3. 10 plus 12 is 22, plus 13 is $35. Okay, that company's going to make $35 over 3 years. So should I pay $35 for that company? No, because if I'd rather get the money today, because the $13 in 3 years, if I put that $13 in the bank today, I can make interest and it'll be worth more in 3 years. So I don't want to pay as much for that $13 now. So you discount the future cash flow, you make it a little bit less to today's terms using a discount rate. So if you have additional questions about that, please let me know. But the bottom line there is that you always want to use multiple ways to value companies, because one of your methodologies is going to be way, 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 way off. We just don't know which one. And you got to see, accounting and finance is different. Accounting is more of a science. You're looking backwards, right? What occurred. It's got to be precise. And the numbers have to be perfect. Finance is less of a science. It's more of an art, right? You're kind of forward thinking. It's like you've got a palette and you're painting, and I think that tree looks like this. I'm not really sure. And you just generally have to be right within a certain, 20% range or whatever it might be, right? And you're never going to get it perfect, because predicting the future is very, very tough. But if you're long-term focused and you predict the future, meaning you invest in a company, you tell yourself in 5 years that company's going to be more relevant than it is today, and you're very long-term focused, then what happens is, if you invest, you're actually going to be there for the long run. You're not going to be a tourist. You're not just going to rent the stock. You're not going to sell the stock when everyone freaks out. Imagine that, selling something because it gets cheaper. Warren Buffett said the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. So think about that. But if you're long-term focused, when you think about valuation, you won't get scared and sell stocks at the worst time. And that's why the stock market's really volatile. Investors and people in general in business are creatures of emotion instead of being creatures of logic. Right? And I found that some of the most successful billionaires I've worked for a bunch of them. I'm not going to say which ones, but I think they have borderline Asperger's syndrome. And that's not a bad thing when it comes to finance, because they're unemotional. and they're never too happy when things go well, and vice versa. And they're just very even keel and level-headed. They don't freak out when everyone else is freaking out. They kind of think of things logically. Yeah. And if you have additional questions based on that, please let me know. Thanks.